is it. I will take you through this amazingness today.
Welcome to Cross Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Who has the right of way? Nigerian roads come with a lot of chaos. The chaos is caused by a combination of drivers, motorcycle and tricycle riders, pedestrians, and sellers who all claim the right of way. The chain of right of way holders in Nigeria is hierarchical, and car and motor drivers are at the top of the chain with pedestrians at the bottom. Motorcycle and tricycle riders don't even have any regard for who has the right of way. For fear of accidents and their lives, pedestrians have learned to cower. When a collision occurs, the question of who has the right of way is on the lip of all concerned as they try to figure out who is guilty. The law doesn't grant anyone the right of way, but you yield it to other road users under these circumstances. At a yield sign, to pedestrians in a crosswalk, to persons using a seeing eye guide dog, to persons using a white cane with or without a red tip, at T intersections where you must yield to vehicles on the through road, at uncontrolled intersections where vehicles are already in the intersection, when driving on an unpaved road that intersects with a paved road, when returning to the roadway after a car is parked. Pedestrians must always be yielded the right of way at intersections and crosswalks. Treat bicycles as motor vehicles. Yield to bicyclists in all situations where you would yield to a car. For example, wait for an oncoming bicycle to pass before turning left. Turn right at a red light if it's permitted and no vehicles are approaching. If you see a sign that says "No right turn on red," then you must wait for the light to turn green again. Otherwise, you must turn right at a red light after yielding to oncoming traffic. Stop for pedestrians who've begun crossing the road. Once a pedestrian has begun crossing the road, they have the right of way. You should also stop for pedestrians waiting to cross at crosswalks that aren't controlled by a traffic light. Yield to oncoming traffic if you're entering a main road.
Hello and welcome. I'm Manuel Olubobokun and this is the news update. Amnesty International Nigeria has now condemned the mass trial of the #EndBad Governance protesters in Abuja, Kano and Kaduna. The protesters were arrested during the Anger Archer protest in August 2024. The Nigerian government has now been prioritizing punishing protesters without addressing urgent need for impartial investigation into the killings of dozens of protesters across Kano, Katsina, Suleja, Tafa, Jigawa and Maiduguri. The protesters are accused of treason, which carries the death penalty, and allegations of plans to destabilize Nigeria. The government's attempts to charge those protesting poverty and also corruption with treason are absurd and baseless. The Zamfara Defense Headquarters has now demobilized it to MRAPs, which is that mines resistance armored personnel carriers used by terrorists in a video. The troops were trapped in a swamp during a fighting operation to prevent terrorists from using them. Major General Edward Buba, Director of Defense Media Operations, stated that the terrorists used viral videos to spread disinformation and fake news. DHQ demobilized the MRAPs to prevent their use after abandonment, as the armed forces denied that 150 people were abducted in Gobir and urged the public to be cautious of terrorist propaganda efforts. The DHQ stressed that these situations are not uncommon in war, where troops retained operational flexibility to achieve strategic objectives. Now, the pump price of premium motor spirits may rise as the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPCL, has admitted financial constraints. NNPCL spokesperson Olufemi Soneye admitted on Sunday that the firm was strained by fuel supply costs. The company stressed that this financial strain has now placed a considerable pressure on the company and poses a threat to the sustainability of fuel supply. The admittance confirmed the report that the prolonged fuel scarcity across the country is caused by $6.8 billion debt owed by NNPCL to international oil suppliers. Development indicates that NNPCL, which is the sole supplier of PMS in Nigeria, may not continue to sell the product between 670 naira and 720 naira per litre. As I recall, that the major energy market association of Nigeria, MEMAN, in July said that the landing cost of petrol was at 1,170 naira per litre. Though NNPCL has repeatedly denied paying fuel subsidies, it has recently admitted that it is only taking care of premium motor spirit importation shortfalls between the company and the Federation. Moving on, the former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, has criticized the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited for its lack of transparency following the company's admission of a $6 billion debt to petrol suppliers. The debt has caused fuel scarcity in Nigeria for 6 weeks, as the NNPCL's Chief Communications Officer, Olufemi Soneye, confirmed the debt, highlighting the financial strain it has imposed on the company's operations. Soneye assured NNPCL remained committed to its role as supplier of last resort and is now working with government agencies to ensure consistent petroleum supply products, of which Atiku accused President Bola Tinubu's administration of driving the NNPC to ruin, describing the current actions as a ruthless dismantling of its assets. Now, President Bola Tinubu arrived in Beijing, the capital of China, on a state visit. During this trip, the Nigerian leader will attend the Night Forum on China-Africa Cooperation Summit, which has the theme joining hands to advance modernization and build high-level China-Africa communication community with a shared future. This was announced in a social media post by the President's Special Assistant, Dada Olusegun stated that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu arrives in Beijing for his official state visit to China, and that Tinubu will meet with President Xi Jinping and will also hold meetings with Chinese business leaders on the sidelines of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation. Tinubu was received at the airport by several Nigerian and Chinese government officials, including the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Kaduna State Governor Uba Sani, the Minister of Works, David Umahi, and the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy, Wale Edun. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has filed a lawsuit against the leadership of the National Assembly, including the Senate President Godswill Akpabio and House Speaker Tajuddin Abbas. SERAP alleges that the lawmakers have neglected to terminate the unlawful practice of the National Assembly in setting its own allowances and operational costs, as well as failing to provide accountability for the monthly expenses allocated to its members. In a statement, SERAP's Deputy Director, Kolawole Oluwadare, confirmed that the lawsuit was filed last Friday at the Federal Court in Abuja. This action was prompted by recent claims made by former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who asserted the lawmakers set their own salaries and allowances, contradicting the guidelines established by the Revenue Mobilization Fiscal Allocation Commission. SERAP is now seeking a court order to compel Akpabio and Abbas to seize the National Assembly's unlawful practice of determining its own remuneration and allowances, referred to as running costs. Still on the news update, the other state government has confirmed one case of mpox and reported 8 suspected instances of cholera within the state. Dr. Ejiofor Stephenson, the Director of Public Health at the Ministry of Health, shared this information with Channels Television Saturday, has indicated that the state government has now implemented proactive measures since January to raise awareness and educate the public on the importance of seeking medical attention at the nearest designated health facilities upon the onset of symptoms. Additionally, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control (NCDC) has now noted that cholera-aged children aged 0 to 5 years are predominantly affected by mpox outbreak in the country. Among the 48 confirmed mpox cases reported in Nigeria this year, the most significantly impacted demographic is children within this age range, as stated by the agency. Now, the Oyo State government is urged for enhanced collaboration with the private sector and community leaders to improve healthcare infrastructure, medical equipment and facilities throughout the state. Dr. Akin Fabimi, chairman of the Oyo State Health Management Board, who spoke on behalf of the Governor Seyi Makinde, said this during the remodel and renovation ceremony of General Hospital in Igbara, now located in the Igbarapa Central Local Government area. Dr. Fagbemi Ford highlighted that the refurbished armaments of essential areas within the General Hospital would greatly enhance primary healthcare services in the region, establishing a benchmark for private sector partnership and participation in the state. Adepeju Hussein Giwa, representing the Adedigba family, provided insight into the project's inspiration, referencing Islamic principles.
This is what we have been looking forward to see, where many Nigerians that will support the state, especially with regards to the health care of Oyo State. The Omitutu 2.0 of the second term of His Excellency pays a very great focus with regards to the health care of the state. And having one of our facilities renovated to the state of the art, to us, we are so glad, we're happy.
This is something was done last year as well, so this is not the first in Ibadan, but this is the first of its kind when it comes to medical facilities in Igbora that we're doing.
Can you quantify how much you have spent?
In all, we say Alhamdulillah.
The renovation initiative undertaken by the Adedigba family serves as a tribute to their deceased parent, Alhaji Jimoh Atilola Adedigba, who previously held the position of Permanent Secretary in Oyo State. Now, straight to Zamfara State, the Governor Dauda Lawal has provided 100 million naira to flood victims in the Gomai local government area of the state. The Governor made the announcement on Saturday when he paid an on-the-spot assessment visit to the affected local government. Sympathizing with the victims, he also ordered the distribution of 10,000 bags of assorted grains, along with mosquito nets and blankets to them. Lawal also pledged to address long-term flood management by constructing new drainage systems, repairing of existing dams, and also potentially building additional dams. The governor was in Gombe town and also Gayari community to assess the level of damages caused by the flood. Governor Lawal was received by the Emir of Gombe, Justice Hassan Lawal, retired, who gave the breakdown of the situation in the local government. Now, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has now vowed to incite political turmoil in any state where a governor tries to interfere with the affairs of the People's Democratic Party in Rivers State. Wike said these are the PDP secretariat in Port Harcourt during the party's state congress, which was overseen by representatives from the Independent National Electoral Commission, including the state's resident electoral commissioner, as well as representatives from security agencies and the PDP's National Working Committee, of which Wike is currently embroiled in the first battle with Fubara over control of the PDP structure in Rivers State, which Wike governed from 2015 to 2023.
Anybody will take away the structure of PDP from us. Not to lie with you. I hear there are some governors who say they will take away the structure and give back to somebody. I pity those governors, because I'll put fire in their state. God has given you peace. You say no want peace. Then whatever you see, you take it. I don't understand. Simply because I hear they got some money from this signature bonus. And so their heads are getting big. That you put hand in my own state. Prepare. Because I have the capacity. So also do the same to your own state. Whether you are from Bauchi, I don't give a damn. Whichever state you come from, as far as I know, that you are trying to put yourself in River State, your hand will get bumped.
And now to other parts of Africa, leaders from various African nations have now commenced their arrival in Beijing, the capital of China, in anticipation of the 2024 Forum on China-Africa Cooperation Summit, which is set to begin on Wednesday. This night's assembly aims to establish a framework for managing the evolving strategic partnership between China and the African continent in the aftermath of the COVID pandemic. The summit occurs amidst increasing geopolitical tensions, prompting Beijing to start emphasize its standing in relation to other global powers. Key areas of negotiation are expected to include climate and energy, alongside discussions on digital and technological collaboration aimed at bridging Africa's digital divide. Historically, FOCAC has also resulted in significant financial pledges for initiatives in infrastructure, agriculture, and manufacturing. And now straight to move out South Africa. Tropical storm Yagi has now caused floods and landslides in the Philippines, killing up to 11 people. The storm, which swept past the Bicol region southeast of Manila, is expected to make landfall on the northeast coast of the main island of Luzon. Schools and government offices across Manila were shut down as ferry services were suspended and 29 domestic flights were cancelled. 3 people, including a pregnant woman, were killed in a landslide in the Manila suburb of Antipolo, while 4 other drowning victims were also recovered. Yagi also lashed the eastern city of Naga, killing 2 people, including a baby girl. And on to business, the federal government is facing a setback in power generation due to the refusal of electricity distribution companies to take on the power allocated to them. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, expressed regret for the rejection and announced plans to release $800 million for the construction of substations and distribution lines under the Presidential Power Initiative. The funds will ensure the construction of substations for Lot 2 and Lot 3, costing $400 million each. Adelabu assured that TBA management of the federal government's commitment to working with world-class organizations to achieve President Bola Tinubu's renewed vision for the power sector. And on to entertainment, British rock band Coldplay has now made history by becoming the first rock music tour to gross over $1 billion. The music of the Surfers tour surpassed Sir Elton John's farewell tour to claim the title of the highest grossing rock tour ever. This milestone comes after American singer Taylor Swift's Eras tour broke the $1 billion barrier last year. However, Coldplay tour is the first to officially report a worldwide gross of over $1 billion. Nigerian artists Ira Star and Burna Boy were featured guests at the Italy and Dublin stop of the tour, respectively. And that's the much can take on the news this hour. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel, Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. You can also view us from Limex on Limex.tv and Glow TV apps anywhere in the world. I am Emmanuel Olubobokun. Many thanks for watching.
Nigeria is witnessing an increase in entrepreneurs, startup companies, and small and micro-scale businesses. Economists say one of the major reasons for this is a problem that has plagued the country: unemployment. Many Nigerians spend several years at home jobless before securing their first jobs or settling for other options. The National Bureau of Statistics puts the country's unemployment rate at 33.3%, the highest on record. Rather than sit at home and complain, more young people are becoming innovative and turning their hobbies into businesses. Olayanwaju sold clothes in his undergraduate days to make extra income. He now does the same thing, but this time around to make a living.
It came as a motivation for me since my university period, because I actually went into selling of NYSC kits, selling all these basic minor clothes. And after a while, after going to service, it occurred to me that the kind of set of people I roll with, this is what is going on in town. This is the fashion store. This is the brand. And I've been known as Roger Wears. So why is Roger Wears still selling this? Why can't he just move up from this business into the main industry?
Samuel Joy learned to cut hair during her days of unemployment. It's now what she does for a living.
Actually, it hasn't really been easy though, but a lot of challenges ahead of it, and some I've faced though, and it's cool. But I love it being, I was once a tomboy. That's when I learned barbing. And ever since then, I think I've been able to convince people to believe my skills.
Unemployment and poverty also forced Willie to be a barber on the streets of highbrow Victoria Island in Lagos.
When I was growing up, my father actually wanted me to do something good. He wanted me to go to school, wanted me to have a good grades in school. Well, you know the system in the country. When after the school stage, you come back, you graduate from school, you still don't have good jobs out there.
On the flip side, unemployment has led to the stagnation of some individuals who find it tough to adapt because of their specializations. Wale Scott, a professional sports broadcaster, lost his job at the peak of his career. His unemployment journey lasted about 7 years. Moving on and getting another job was more difficult than he had imagined it would be.
A Wale Scott with all that talent doesn't have a job. But I realized that every office I went to, when I picked myself up, when I get there, the guys who are in my department there are like, I beg, I space no day, because they have job security problems. As in, if this guy comes, he's going to take our job. That was my major reason why I didn't get a job that early. Everybody felt like, it's good. If he comes, he's going to take our job and all that. So I didn't get a job for a long time.
All this doesn't mean there aren't people who still get white-collar jobs. But what factors make some people employable and others unemployable?
As a job seeker, you need to position yourself to get that fresh information. The longer a job opening is out there, the reduced or the more reduced your chances as a job seeker to get shortlisted. So that's the first thing first is the information and the network. Then the next step is actually your own preparedness, which is your documents, your marketing tool, your CV. Anything that will sell you best should come first on your CV or should be prominent on your CV. There are some schools that if you are a graduate of that school, just put it at the bottom of your CV. So if your CV is a 3-pager, let it be maybe like the second to the last item on your CV. There are some schools that you need to put proudly on the first page because those schools are considered to be thorough and rigorous in their processes. So how do you apply? If you're applying to an online portal, fine, you have to upload your CV still. Or you could apply to an email. Usually such vacancies, there's always an email for you to send your email. So when applying, ensure that you're applying properly. And the basic rules are, the subject must be the job title you're applying for. So for instance, if it's an accounting role, the subject should be accountant or accounting opening, something like that.
Everybody's got talent, but are you actually the right talent for that particular role? Then again, what exactly are you prepared? When I mean the right talent, you have the right skills, you have the right qualification, experience. So all this, and also it has to do with your behavioral attributes for the role. So if you have all this, yes, maybe you could actually get qualified for the role. But when you don't have this, it becomes like a misfit for the role. What makes people unemployable is also a determinant of your readiness. Are you available? Are you actually what we want for that role?
At a point in my life, I actually did consider it, and I was back in school. I did consider going into Yahoo Yahoo.
All right, so what changed your mind?
It's something that when I tried to, I felt this adrenaline rush of being scared of being caught, being scared of sitting in jail. It's something that I did try for like a week, not even, it didn't take up to 2 weeks, just a week. And within that week, it's something I understood that no, this is no way for me. Because, for example, there are a lot of youths that are just like me in these same markets that were into this business. And I've seen a whole lot of them that have bought cars just from this business, that have gotten a house just from this business.
There is no lady that is willing to do something that is illegal. Yeah. It's just due to the, what is it called? The bad economy in our country. Because I see myself as somebody that has really been focused from my childhood. There are some ladies that doesn't have patience in doing some things they do. That's why you see some runs girls around.
Our Nigerian youths won't try because go easy. At Ibere, kind of primary, from primary to secondary. Secondary, most of them are university, not graduate. After graduation, on the serve, if you are a year, a year to be served. So one serve now, most of them want to say federal, one serve the federal, and one can serve in the states. Instead of your country, me one, Sibe, on that one left. So I'm out quickly and fashion. Most of them want online business, non she. About one agency, our youth not quite in business dancing.
So I feel a lot of people actually have this mindset of they want to go into legal ways and make it out of legal ways. So one day they can always say, back then I never had it, but today I have it because I set my mind into this market business and not the other shady business, because no one knows tomorrow.
The problem is not the guys from the outside. It's actually from the inside. You don't get any more respect at home anymore. The wifey doesn't respect you anymore. Your mother, your parents don't respect you anymore. And if you are fortunate that you have siblings who actually have jobs during that period, the parents, people around you tend to actually give the respect to those people, and you lose your respect as the elderly one. So the time I felt I lost was the time that I got into drinking, because people at home expect you to come back and they want to talk to you, they want to insult you, and to forget to get a deaf ear to the insult. You get to get drunk, get high, just come home and sleep. Whatever they're saying, you can't hear them. And it's a terrible mental state when you can't bring money out to feed your family, you can't bring money out to take care of the house. The worst part is when you go out in the mornings, early in the mornings to go and look for a job and come back in the evening, your neighbors are wondering, where does he go every day, Seth? As in, when it's time for them to pay for the people that sweeps the floor, he can't pay. Time to pay for the rent, he can't pay. So where does he go every morning? But you can't stay at home as a man. But you still go out all day, come back at night, no luck. And then nobody at home is understanding that no luck, it happens. They're like, why would you have luck?
Most of my friends are already well made. And probably there are times when they will just call me, what's up? Knowing that I'm this kind of person that likes going to parties. I like going out. What's up, Proja? Come on, let's go out. Let's hang out. But due to the fact that I'm jobless and probably have no cash on me, I will just respectfully decline the offer.
Both the private sector and individual have roles to play as far as employment-related issues are concerned. Take the private sectors, for example. Private sectors, or private sector rather, not sectors. The private sector have, they have to help to drive the public sectors in every area where it is failing. I give you a very good example. In the ongoing pandemic, the government of Nigeria has not been able to take to life any vaccine. Not because there are no researchers, not because there are no research institutes, But there were other factors that go into that space to make it happen. One of it is funding of research. We have to start changing the orientation of people. There is the mentality of quick wealth all around, all over the whole place, which is why a whole lot of young people are involved in Yahoo, in code, and all other things. And when you speak with them, they tell you, oh, it's because there are no jobs. That's why I have to go that way. But in the real sense, there is a due paying process period when people are supposed to commit to a job or a role or a work or a vocation and learn the ropes, become experts.
Everybody has a skill. Yeah. But it's just sacrificing the time and creating the time in making that thing grow in you.
When we talk about vocational trainings, right, I've come just like you said, not like white collar jobs is not for everyone. I mean, we've come to realize that. At the moment at Jobberman, we are in partnership with the MasterCard Foundation. We are upskilling about 5 million. Well, the mandate is 5 million young Nigerians over 5 years, right? And place 3 million of them in work. And of the 3 million of them that we're upskilling, some of the things that have come up is the importance of gig work, the importance of internship. So it's not just having a full-time employment, but having dignified employment, right? And blue-collar jobs also fall under dignified employment. However, because of the country that we're in, a lot of blue-collar jobs are not regarded as dignified, right? So you go anywhere outside the country, so maybe the developed world, and you have like a plumber, you have like a carpenter, and they are regarded and they are respected, right? However, in Nigeria, you have carpenters, you have plumbers, and most times those professions, although not white collar, are not regarded, right? So what we really would love to do is to make these blue collar jobs dignified. And how do we make them dignified? By teaching these people, or teaching people who are going through vocational trainings, the necessary skills that will make them stand out. So yes, white collar jobs are not the only answer when it comes to employment. Blue collar jobs as well are our answer to unemployment.
After all said and done, changing the public perception that white-collar jobs are the only dignified form of labor may just be a start in the eradication of the stigma of unemployment. More people are building businesses from their talents, passions, and hobbies.
I will take you through this amazingness today.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Hello and welcome to the Literary Bar, the place where authors and readers come together, comment. The girls will be back later and the boys will join them too. So how was your weekend? I'll tell you how I spent mine. I saw the play Gowan at Newson Center over the weekend, and I truly enjoyed the excellent interpretation by the cast. The delivery and performance was captivating. So well done to the cast and production team of Gowan. So go grab your cup of tea or that glass of wine and join me after the break. So our book choice for this episode is a yet-to-be-published memoir. So it is a privilege to share this book with you because the author has gone through a deep and debilitating traumatic experience. In Nigeria and elsewhere, new mothers are expected to be happy and excited. After all, during the wedding, family and friends mark 9 months on the calendar after the union for the naming ceremony. When conception is delayed, anxiety sets in. From doctors to pastors, alfas and babalawos, we look for solutions everywhere. However, when the baby arrives, we expect the new parents, especially the mother, to be overwhelmed with joy. But when she's moody, irritable, angry, detached, and even suicidal, everybody gets confused and suspicious of her. Because this lack of anticipated joyfulness and detachment from the baby is deemed anomalous. In Nigeria, it might even be construed as a spiritual attack. Perhaps the mother is a witch or possessed by evil spirits. I believe that we have over 1.5 million cases of new mothers dealing with PPD. This is not a medical program. I'm not a doctor, neither is my guest. Rather, it is the author's personal account of her journey from the depths of despair to recovery and redemption. After the break, you will meet this maternal mental health advocate and my very charming guest, Chima Ejimofo. Welcome back. There's so much to learn from this segment. So without further ado, let me introduce Chima. She's an entrepreneur, a teacher, author, and a life coach. Her professional experience includes banking, insurance, sales, and marketing. She's currently the MD of Infinite Health and Wellness Consult. Chima loves exercises. She's married to Ike, and they have 3 wonderful children. So Chima, welcome.
Thank you.
To the Literary Bar. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
You look very well.
Thank you.
Considering what we're talking about.
Oh yes, that was donkey years ago.
Yes, but the scars remain.
Okay.
They do or they do not?
They don't.
They don't remain. And we have a lot to thank for that. Family, friends, and your spiritual connection to God.
Yes.
Like I said, 1.5 million new mothers have to cope with postpartum depression. And some recover like you, and some do not.
Yes.
It can actually get really tragic.
Yes.
So what happened to you, Chima?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity to share. I was one of those, I got married at 26. And just like you said, people began to count. But deep down inside us, we were prepared not to have a child in the first year anyway. However, by the 3rd year, my father said to me that, Jim, what's going on? And I said, how? And he said, are you guys not interested in having children?
3 long years.
Yes. And so I said, well, we are doing everything we should do, but nothing has happened. And so that's how come I even knew that there is a time frame within which you're
months.
expected. And so we did some medical checks, and that I discovered that I had fibroids, and that was what was delaying conception. I went ahead to have the procedure done, and we were told that 6 months afterwards we could begin to try. Now that 6 months became 3 years.
Another 3 years?
Yes, another 3.
So this is 6 years now?
6 years now.
Wow.
And then in between then, a whole lot of stuff happened. Apart from medical, taking conception pills and all of that, I do know that I built up my faith.
Yeah.
And when it did happen, it just happened. I couldn't have said there was any special prayer or anything extra that I did I could give as a formula. But it happened. My 9 months pregnancy, sincerely, was a breeze. Why? Because I was so prepared. I had done all the studying, what to expect and
Yes.
all of that,
Yes.
what to eat. And anyway, so because of the history of fibroid, on the 39th week,
Yes.
the doctor said to me that, I hope you know that you're going to deliver today. I just went for my normal antenatal. I had packed like 3 months ago, so it was like, oh, okay. So all I did was put a call across. Then we didn't have mobile phones. We had the table phones.
Yeah.
So I put a call across and said to my husband, please bring my stuff over. They say I will not be going today. Set me up. I didn't know I was being induced. The bed, my waters broke. And that's when they realized that, true, she knows what she's saying. Delivery room. Before I knew what was going on, some very enthusiastic lady came and used a razor blade to give me a cut. According to her, I'm a first timer, so they need to help me. But
Did they tell you to expect this?
No.
Okay.
So 1, 2 pushes, the baby came out. And then I wouldn't stop bleeding. I bled until I literally saw my spirit leaving my, it was like looking at yourself.
Out of body experience?
Yes. And so I said to God, excuse me, am I dying?
The way you're saying it, it sounds funny, but I know that at that point, there was nothing funny about it.
It wasn't funny. But you see, because I had stepped out from just being a church goer, I know when I became a Christian. And one of the habits I had was memorizing scripture. So I knew certain scriptures.
Yeah.
And I said to God, excuse me, this is inconsistent. The Bible says God is not a man that he should lie.
Yeah.
Neither is he the son of man that he should repent. Has he said it?
Yeah.
Will he not do it? Has he spoken it? Will he not bring it to pass? So I said, excuse me, explain this. You start a thing, then the devil truncates it. Where is your glory there? I didn't understand that I was arguing my case.
Yeah.
I just thought, and these were thoughts, so I heard him say clearly, you won't die.
Okay.
And then I said, for me to know that you have truly answered me, one, my veins had collapsed. I knew when they were panicking.
Oh, wow.
I said, one, make this bleeding stop. Two, bring me back. Let them get the pulse. And then help me.
Yes.
And almost as I thought it, I came back into myself.
Okay.
And I was, I've cut out a whole lot of, because it's a long story.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was taken back to the now maternity ward. And 3 days later, discharged. Now, in those 3 days, I was not lactating.
Okay.
I was having rigor fever.
Wow.
And my breasts were as hard as stone.
Okay. Because you were not lactating.
I wasn't lactating. Now, you'd be amazed that why would that happen in any hospital?
Yes.
Well, it did happen to me.
Okay.
A friend who's a medical doctor, her name is Ochi, Dr. Ochi Ibe. She came and she said, Chima. Then she showed us how to use hot towels and manually express the breast milk.
And how's your baby at this time?
My baby was literally being fed with, what do you call it? First and foremost, she was being given like, is it glucose water? I don't know.
Yes.
Just to keep her, you know.
Hydrated.
And then when I began to be able to manually express, she was being fed with a spoon.
Okay.
And 3 days later, we were discharged.
Okay.
When I got home, my sister-in-law looked at my tummy. This is the like 6th day, 7th day. Said, this tummy is looking untidy. Now showed my husband how to use
the African way, the African girdle,
wrapper to tie, and said I shouldn't mind the discomfort, but if it became unbearable, then, so I put that on just that first night. I woke up feeling like going to ease myself, and all I can remember was my name being called from far. So apparently I had passed out.
Wow.
In the
bathroom?
Yes, in the bathroom, in a pool of blood.
Oh, wow.
So thank God for that.
The girdle.
Girdle. If not, nobody would have known what was going on in there. Now, these were the days when street gates, securities, you know, they ran to the gate. Gate people had locked the gate.
Had locked the
and disappeared
away.
with the key. My husband prayed from 1 a.m. till 5 a.m. when those people finally
returned. Wow.
Returned. I was rushed to a different hospital, and that's where they discovered that retained placenta.
Wow.
So I had to have an evacuation done, and it's just the mercy of God, because up till now, I still can't understand, explain it.
Okay.
And then from the hospital, naming ceremony on the 8th day. That was a tradition then in our local church, Winners.
Well, all this was happening within a week of you being a mom.
Yes.
Just 1 week.
Yes.
Quite an adventure.
Yes. You know, the usual thing, my mom, she moved in.
My Mugo, yes.
And she was a fantastic help. She knew everything to do. I was just coasting before all of this happened.
Okay.
And then
after the naming ceremony?
After the naming ceremony, I just asked if I could be allowed to stay at home before going back to the hospital.
Okay.
Because I was on antibiotics and I couldn't breastfeed and a whole lot of stuff. I just realized that that first day I couldn't sleep. The next day I couldn't sleep. And then all of a sudden, I seemed to be having a lot of revelations in quotes, and I was talking.
Were you aware of what you were saying?
Yeah, I was aware of some things. It was almost as if I had supernatural insight into everybody's problems.
Wow.
A lot of things that, looking back.
Did you think about your baby at any point in all of this? As you were now talking?
The baby was not even in my radar at all.
Right.
Because it was like I was in a different plane, let me put it that way.
Yeah.
So they just realized that rather than resting, I was high, very high, you know. And I was just talking until they realized that no, something is wrong. So that's how come.
To question me, my medical background, yes.
The whole thing was so frustrating. At some point, I didn't trust anybody anymore. As a teenager, I did karate.
Okay.
When they want to inject me without telling me why, you will need 5 people to hold me down. By the end of the second day, I was all bruises because they would forcibly hold me down. Didn't care, just jab her, give her the injections. My parents lived in Satellite Town. We lived at Iyanokpaja. Thankfully, it took maybe like 2-3 days before my father could visit. And when he saw me, It was like...
Where were you at this time?
In the hospital.
Oh, just a regular hospital?
Yes.
Nothing.
But
and your husband,
yeah.
were you aware of him?
Yes.
Okay.
He was very much around.
Okay.
And I now said to my dad that these people want to kill me. And he said, why? And then I told him. He said, oh my God. So he had to have a talk with the doctor. He said, this one, if you want to give her anything, explain it.
Okay.
Tell her why you want to give her this particular drug. If not. And so they had to come down and reason with me and realize that, oh yes, there's some people who want to ask questions and you must answer.
Okay.
So that was one phase. At some point, because my dad was a pharmacist, he had to sit down with the doctor. They found out that they were just my father
who knew.
So that was why he invited the psychiatrist who came in, pastor,
right,
who was supposed to be an expert in deliverance. I was subjected to fasting against my will. And at some point I was chained down.
Wow.
And the flogging? The flogging, I would not say was under the pastor's instruction.
Okay.
But rather the assistants who were kind of amused with, who is this person that they're giving all this attention? So it was like, maybe if we flog her, her sense will correct. That kind of attitude. So
you know, it's amazing that till tomorrow, there are places where they feel that people who have
Yes.
out of, you need to starve the demons out of your body.
Yes, all of that. I